What's up, party people? Quack, 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 quack. Quack, 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 quack. My name's Chris, and I'm a bookaholic. All right, today I want to talk to you. Just basically, this is just JCM Byrne love. It's his Hybrid Helix, like, deliciousness. I'm just going to spend a couple seconds because I finished this trilogy up. It's actually not a trilogy. It's a, what do you call 24 or 30? It's a lot more than this, but the three that are out, I done read. And let me just say this. I love me some Rohan. So first things first, I want to say a special shout out to Andrew over there at Andrew's Wizardly Reads, because he's the one who turned me on to JCM Byrne and the Hybrid Helix series. I had no idea. And I'm not even 100% sure that superhero in space was the big interest. I think I had started to watch all of his videos, Andrews, and I realized, there's a lot of things that we have in common, a lot of things that he likes, that I like, so I could give this a try, and I did, and I'm so glad I did, because not only is JCM Byrne a phenomenal writer, but I'm really enjoying getting to know him a little bit in the Discords, and then his YouTube channel, and then I had the chance to interview him. So let's just start at the beginning. Wistful Ascending. This book was such a surprise for me because I kind of went in a little bit, just a little bit aware of what the basic theme was, but immediately I found myself dropped onto Wistful, the sentient ship, and the cosmopolitan, almost kind of multicultural experience was so inviting and interesting that I just kept turning the pages. But then you start realizing, wait a minute, look at this, and tell me a little bit more about that. And you start to realize this character development is making me care about Rohan and his story and the people that he is with. And oh, by the way, what are they talking about with the Griffin, and what's that past all about? And then you start realizing, wait a minute, there's even more layers here, because there's this Ilsane, and then you have the Ildrak, and you have all of these almost seemingly superpowers and worlds and gods, and you just realize this is an onion. I keep undoing a little bit of a layer. So here's the truth: if you love superheroes, you're gonna love this book, but not because Rohan is entirely and totally unstoppable. There's this part of him that is really just wrestling with in his past and trying to figure out what his present and his future could look like. And so, he's got some flaws, but he learns from his past. And I think even JCM Byrne had said at some point that Rohan's the kind of guy that's going to learn from his mistakes. And you see that as the story develops. So the very first story brings us into contact with these, almost like, are they lovable teddy bears? We don't know. What's going on? There's this wormhole that's open, and all of a sudden there's this whole new species that is present. And what you begin to start realizing is that Rohan is not going to have a successful time fully hiding. The mixed species children of the Ildrak are awesome, civilization-ending powers. The Ildrak have built a cruel empire spanning half a galaxy behind them. Half-human Rohan, exhausted by a decade of fighting for that empire as a weapon of mass destruction, has paid a secret and terrible price for his freedom, and now retired, he strives to live a quiet life towing starships for the space station Wistful. And his most pressing problems are finding the perfect cup of coffee and talking to a beguiling shuttle tech without tripping over his own tongue. When a nearby long dormant wormhole is opened by a ship full of angry refugees, the many eyes of the Empire focus uncomfortably on Wistful. Scientists, spies, and assassins converge. Rohan finds that reverting to the monster the Empire created is the surest way to protect his friends, and if he's not careful, the surest way to lose them. And I I actually really love that, because so much of this story is a lot about friendship and who he was and who he is now and these relationships. And you start to realize that while he may have been initially created to be this weapon of mass destruction, Rohan wants to love and to be loved, and he wants to have relationships, and he cares for the people that he's responsible for, and it's phenomenal. And so to me, this just opened the door to say, okay, I like what's happening, but what about the second? So Return of the Griffin comes about, and you start to realize, okay, yeah, Rohan's got a badass nature. He's got this part of himself that what would happen if, he had to unleash it. And you kind of have some certain situations and scenarios are unpacking in which Rohan needs to step up and ultimately save the day. But I love how there's the realization or recognition that he's not going to be able to do it alone. I mean, you have this collection of people that in and of themselves cannot possibly be victorious. And while Rohan may not be the strongest power ever to have been, he certainly has a very creative way of trying to navigate through some of that chaos and find a solution that is, for the reader, exceptionally satisfying. I think I loved even Return of the Griffin more than Wistful, partly because you start to realize the layered onion, effect. I'm getting a little bit more and a little bit more, and cephalopods, and you have sharks that are able to be on the land, and this epic and crazy battle, and what would happen if someone could manipulate and utilize a particular species in a bad way. And I think what's kind of cool about this book as well is that you start seeing the political factions and how they're all, kind of wanting a little bit of a leg up, and the sensitivity and that they're going to need to have in order to save the day. It's just insane. It was so good. It was so good. And then I got to, of course, Blood Reunion, and I'm like, okay, I mean, can it get any better? And this was, I think what the reality is that it's so different. I mean, you still have the major players coming in and out, and you're developing this kind of rapport and this deep affection for these characters. But each story is so decidedly different. Like, there's been no rehashing. And it would have been easy for J.C.M. Byrne to just kind of make everything wrap up, with this neat little kind of, well, that's what we did before, let's just keep doing it. But I think that the author here is so committed to making sure that the reader has an entertaining and exciting adventure that they're going to just want more. And I think that's what to me is so fascinating, is that it's all this world that he's creating. And it's all these people that we're starting to care about, these sentient ships and these different species. And you have obviously a deeper realization of who Rohan is and was and is becoming. But every single story is so ridiculously different, and I love too that he brings in these old kind of mythological moments, or these legends, and or these kind of creatures, and shows you, wait a minute, here's how you kind of understand them. Like, here's your typical understanding of a vampire, but what if? And then it goes to another level. So you got family, and you got friendship, and you got love, and you got, what does it look like, for a person to be a person, and, how do we treat people? What are the ramifications if we use, if you use people? I mean, it's all there. And so I guess ultimately what I'm saying is, if you're looking for an entertaining book, the Hybrid Helix, this series is, come on, it's gonna be entertaining. But what you start to realize is that not only is it going to be entertaining, but he's going to wrestle with some serious questions and issues that we all need to really wrestle with and ask, like just the importance and the beauty of person, like especially in Blood Reunion, without any spoilers, affected the way that Rohan is wrestling with the reality of a battle that he has to be in, and how he doesn't want to just be the stereotypical, I'll come in, we'll punch him up and take care of business. I mean, the questions of of forgiveness and hope. And I just think it's so good. So, I mean, without getting into the specifics of it all, I just think ultimately do yourself a favor and give the first one a try, because I'm so convinced that if you like the first one, you'll be interested in the second one. And if you read the second one, boy, oh boy, I think you're going to love the third one. And while I do think that it's possible for you to pop in and out of these books, I would recommend going in the order in which they're made, just because I think it's a beautiful presentation. So, yeah, there you go. J.C.M. Byrne has reached middle age without outgrowing the notion that superheroes are cool. Code monkey by day. By night, he slaves over a hot keyboard to prove that superhero stories can be engaging and funny without being dark or silly. And 100%. And this is what also, I suppose, there is some moments of genuinely funny dialogue and banter, but this is not an easy thing for an author to do. And I think Byrne really captures the ability of inserting these almost kind of relieving a little bit of comedic moments, and it's done so well that you realize, okay, that was kind of funny, and it works. And I'm telling you, I've read some books where it does not work. So, do yourself a favor, check it out. And also, if you haven't, check out J.C.M. Byrne's got a YouTube channel now. You can get to know him a little bit more there. And also, I just can't recommend enough Andrew over there at Andrew's Wizardly Reads. Look, he's crushing it. Nico's book reviews, I watch them all, just like you do. So that's where I'm probably getting all of my reading suggestions from. So check out their stuff, like their stuff, subscribe to their stuff, and for those of you who have not done so with my page, if you're interested, I sure would love for you to do the same. There's an Amazon wish list and all that good stuff. I got a Discord, which is really kind of hilarious because I'm just figuring that out. I don't really know what I'm doing, but we're having fun. And anyway, I love this stuff, and I hope you do too.